Okay, guys, so I am super tired and I had a great day. Today I went to church, Liberian church. It was super fun. A little bit longer than our church, but in the United States, but certainly just a fulfilling and uplifting experience. Got to hear my friend Nelson talk about giving and tithing from the pulpit. He did a fantastic job. Met tons of people there that were super nice to me. And just like the way that they worship and celebrate everything as a party of celebration. And then when it's a more serious tone, it is super reverent. And just, I don't know, just all of it was fun. And I enjoyed being a part of it. And I was glad to be there. After church, I got to see my friend Emmanuel, who drove us around. He drove me around today. Got to see him and his family. I decided to have a Rachel holiday at the Tropicana, and I invited all of Nelson's children that he cares for, and his wife and their staff, and Emmanuel's family and their kids. His wife and his kids, who are so sweet. I just love spending time with them. And as much as, this adoption process is long and hard, and there's things about it that have broken me in ways that I can't ever fully grasp. But I gotta say, there's nothing broken about me today. I mean, there's nothing, I didn't see my kids today. I didn't see my Liberian kids today. I thought I wanted one day to focus on Nelson's family, and I wanted to see Emmanuel as well and his family. And I wanted to bring some business to the Tropicana. So I did. I brought a lot of business to the Tropicana. Thank you, Jeremy, for footing that bill you may not know about yet. We had fun. The Rachel holiday was fun. But yeah, it was just a celebration. And my hotel room is on a deck, a porch they were kind enough to let me have, where we could see all the children playing in the very shallow pool. Most of them cannot swim, so it's a little dangerous to just be like, hey, let's go to the pool. But they were safe here. And there are lifeguards here too, so that was helpful. They keep the kids from getting rowdy, but these kids don't get rowdy. Sunday's a busy day for the Tropicana. They have a lot of people here. But yeah, it was a good day. It was great having memories with friends of mine. And you realize when you're in the midst of a problem and a conflict that you can't solve. And it's a problem we can't solve. And I've come to the acceptance of the fact that we can't solve it, and that it's being fought. I believe that it's being fought on a spiritual plane that I don't have access to. I know that God has his angels battling there, and there are people that are equipped to battle on those planes that God has called there, and they are battling. And I would say Albert is battling in ways that I will never understand. Nelson is battling in ways I'll never understand. Pauline is battling in ways I'll never understand. The caregivers at the orphanage at Small World, and I know some of them watch these videos sometimes, and it's humbling that they would watch it, because sometimes they give me a little heart, and I'm like, oh, they're there. Esther is battling spiritual attacks that are evil as she tries to take care of these kids physically, emotionally, and spiritually as they wait and they wait and they wait. Kubo is a fierce, positive voice for those children. Kabe is battling. Kabe, she is so sweet, and she is all smiles, and she has been caring for the children the longest. And when she found out that we were adopting our son, she's the one that hoisted him up on her back. I'm like, don't hurt her. She's a very small lady. She's tiny little lady. And she hoisted him up on her back and paraded him around like he was a concrete hero, because he got a family, because we chose him. And they were just so happy, even though they know that we don't know exactly when he'll ever leave there. It could be 2 months, 2 years, 10 years. But that doesn't matter that day. So, Weedor, she's so quiet, and Debra is so quiet. And these women, they stand guard over our children that we can barely reach at times. I find myself just wanting to see their faces on a phone, and they're trying to make that happen too. And honestly, it is not as easy as it sounds. But These people, Augustine and Moses, the men that are at the orphanage to do security and maintenance and care for the children. These are Albert's staff. And then Nelson and Pauline fight the same battles. Without the avenue of adoption for the children that they're raising, 29 children. They have 2 biological children and 27 more. And they have a little help with that. But honestly, they walk by faith and they're committed to these kids. And they are doing a good job raising these kids. These kids are fantastic. I mean, they're fantastic. And they're going to do great things as they get older, and they're doing great things now. They're taking leadership roles in the church. They're singing and standing up and speaking. And I don't mean like a little church. I mean like there was probably 200 people there. Like it was 250 people. It was a lot. As a side note, I hope that Pastor Paul, my dear friend Paul, who lives across the street, who also happens to be the pastor of our church, I just want you to know, Paul, or whoever knows Paul that watches this video, because I don't know that Paul watches them all or any of them. I think he waits for the in-person update, which is fine. They took up 4 contributions during Liberian church today. They talked a lot about tithing, and they took up 4 different contributions. 4. I wasn't sure what was happening because sometimes it's hard to understand. And I was just like, I didn't know if just the people felt moved and were just giving extra because we did it at the beginning and I gave then. Because Nelson told me that the theme was going to be about giving, and if I felt called to give, that there would be an opportunity for that, but no pressure, you know. He's like, I know you're spending a lot already, but that's fine. But I just want you to know. But when I had a chance to participate in that, they let you come up to the front and that you hold up your offering above your head, like that. You hold it up to God and you pray. It's like a communion with God, with this gift that you have, whatever it is. You do that together, and then it goes into the box. And the reason they do 4 is I was like, well, are people just kept walking up to the box, and there were different breaks in the service. And different people talking about the accent. I could hear when Nelson spoke about tithing, he did the intro. I completely understood everything he said. His colleague, I understood about 50-50, but when other people would speak, sometimes I didn't. And then their microphone stopped working. So I was like, oh. I was just kind of following the body language. But people were putting stuff in their box, and I asked Nelson after, when we were here at the Tropicana, he was asking me my feedback on the service. Telling me that I enjoyed it. His wife came up to me halfway through and said, do you want to leave? Are you too hot? And I was like, no, I don't want to leave. I'm fine. I want to stay. And so she brought me a fan. But I just want to say that there's different categories they were giving for. So one part of the donation, the gift was for the building, trying to finish their building. It's a huge concrete building. They have finishing touches to do. To build, it's just like a concrete building with a large stage, but it's not finished. And they have plastic chairs. And then the next one is for the children's ministry, and there's also one that's a category for paying for the children's school fees. And then the last one is for the men that maintain the church, the building, guard the building at night, play in the band, coordinate, security activities, those kind of things. So there were different gifts for whatever you felt more led to. I kind of gave all of mine in one spot. I didn't know there was going to be multiple options, but I thought it was a good thing to do. But when I say that there are spiritual battles that you can see and feel that are just heavy. And one place that evil preys the most is anywhere that there's a lack of information and education. And the lack of information and education just breeds terrible things, because you can pretty much anyone that's desperate enough will probably buy into what you're telling them. Sadly, children especially will buy in. It doesn't take much to convince a child of something. Sadly, which brings me to my next thing. So my dear friend Emmanuel, he has children that have finished high school and graduated from high school. And their schools here are not compulsory and they're not free. Their taxes don't cover them. They have to pay fees for their kids to go to school. Nelson has two sons that are college age and good and strong young men, good Christian like they have Christian values in them and they have faith in them. They have ethics. They're good, well-mannered young men that are wanting to pursue further education. So One of them wants to do information technology because he thinks that will give him job security and help him to work in the private sector. The public sector here, the government doesn't meet their payroll often, which probably is contributing to the riots they're having and burning of the Capitol, to be quite frank. The salaries are supposedly 50% funded by the U.S., but the public servants, such as police officers, nurses, teachers, doctors, are not getting their salaries. So that's causing some problems. So they go to work, and this was a problem when we were here before. It has not changed. It seems to be getting worse. So for Emmanuel's sons to go to college, and for his son that was talking to me about information technology, for him to go to college, he needs $150 a semester, so $300 a year. Him and his brother both, are pursuing similar avenues. And he's like, I want to have a job. I want to be able to be successful, and right now he helps with, Emmanuel has a convenience store shop, and he helps with that, but he needs to further his education. And it's not like he can apply for grants or scholarships or anything like that. He just has to pay. But it's $150, which for him to come up with is at this point, with their current economy, with the current political situation, the current safety situation, current mood of Liberia, for his dad to find enough work, or for him to find enough work to scrape together $150 is more or less an impossibility. So both of Emmanuel's kids are looking for sponsorship for their next steps. And I gotta say, I want to help him for sure, and I probably will. But he's gonna need like 4 to 5 years of education. It's not just like it's college here, and it's going to take some time. It is specialized in his field, but it will take some time for him to get there. So he'll need a few years of college. So he needs $150 a semester, so $300 a year probably for 4 to 6 years, depending on. Information technology is more complex here, so that'll help him get a job, but it is longer education. So if someone is wanting to sponsor, solid Liberian men that are going to do well in this world, it would be nice, I think, to see more of them in a position of power, in a position of financial stability where they're not desperate or dependent on anyone else, where they can stand and help each other and help their community around them. Sometimes, I look at Albert, and I look at Nelson, and I look at Pauline, and I look at the situations. I know their stories. I know what happened. And to see them standing as leaders in their community here, respected leaders, and to see where they are throwing in everything they have for orphans that have no one else. And to see the prosperity and the blessings that they're having for that. Sure, their life is hard, but their life is rich in things beyond this world. But each one of those, Pauline and Albert and Nelson have had, and Emmanuel, and his wife Marietta, they have had difficult lives in their younger years, and they've lost things, they've lost people. The life expectancy for Liberia, for them, it's like for Liberians, they're not, I'm not going to say they're old, but the life expectancy of a Liberian is very different than the developed world. And they're working very hard, and they're leaving a legacy that's amazing. But they don't have an extra $150 per kid laying around. So I'd like to offer up opportunities to sponsor these kids. I'm going to talk to the kids more. I want to give the kids that need sponsorship, specifically Emmanuel's sons, I want to give them the opportunity I'm going to talk to them about giving them an opportunity to have more of a voice in what their dreams are, so I can share that more with whoever wants to listen. But I think it's important to empower these young men, especially ones that have their head on straight. They're good kids, and they're grown-ups now, and their parents have worked hard to make sure that all their school fees were met, and they're able to graduate, and they're able to move to the next step. But, how are they going to do that? So that's out there. So if you want to sponsor a semester for one of Emmanuel's children, it would be amazing. You would never see a more grateful dad or a more proud dad than Emmanuel. And then Emmanuel's one of those guys, he would protect me with his life. He protect him and Nelson and Pauline and Mary. These people, they see what Jeremy and I are trying to do in Liberia for these Liberian children, and they know how hard they have to work to keep their own children safe. They think that it's great, and they will move anything that they can move for me to just show love to these kids. They will move anything they can move to help me adopt these kids. They are also frustrated with us that it's taken this long. They get it. But these people are the kind of people that when you invest a resource in them, they turn it into something you never thought it could be in a good way. Albert can turn nothing into a miracle with his innovation and his resources. I mean, even just trying to help me do a Wi-Fi call with the matched parents to their kids in the orphanage, which seems like this insurmountable task, and he just humbly comes over and fixes it. But I don't think that until I came and made such a big deal about the parents that got to see the kids, I don't think he realized from the parents' perspective how much we need that contact. And now that he knows that we need that contact, I think that him and Nelson and whoever I ask will help me because it's important. But they also know that these kids that we're adopting, all the matched families, are going to have a future, and they're going to have strength in all kinds of things. But one thing that they will have as Americans is strength of economy. And the Liberian economy needs to improve, and it could. In one generation, they went from complete war and complete terror and complete loss to a pretty good. I mean, I'm vacationing here, so it's pretty cool. And in their next generation, if they can continue that trajectory and continue that peace, these young men that are Emmanuel's sons, they're going to do some great things. And they're going to be leaders that defend peace. And that's the thing, is you have to understand that having peace is not easy. You have to fight to defend it. The next generation of Liberians need to learn how to fight with their brains, organize with their brains, solve problems with their brains. Nothing else. Not setting the Capitol building on fire, for goodness sakes, which is what's happening today. Well, that's what happened, 2 weeks ago. But the spiritual battles that these people are facing are heavy and they're dark, but I could not be more fulfilled than I am now. And all of the loss and all of the regret and all of the resources and the time and we almost felt like when we came home from Liberia, it felt like a loss. It felt like we had gambled with so many things, and we had taken so many risks, and we really thought it was going to pay off, and it just didn't. We didn't get what we wanted exactly. But I gotta say, as much as I want my children home, you couldn't have, today, I wouldn't trade today for anything. It was so much fun to just have a day of a holiday at the Tropicana and to have memories with people that know me well. You get to know somebody when you meet them in such a crisis of your life. And to see how even the smallest gift, like when I gave the waiter that had taken care of us, because we were able to order, I ordered some food. We ordered some food from the deck, and the waiter that took care of us, and oftentimes, especially in Liberia, the servers don't get tips, or they get pennies. It's not even worth it. And they don't get a big salary from the resort. They just get the chance to work. Very little pay. And I gave him $10. I'm a $10 tipper anyway. But we were a big crowd, and he was very attentive. He helped us a lot. He was nice. He cleaned up after everything. But usually, like a tip, that's a huge tip for Liberia. But he was so happy and so grateful. And I know for sure that he's probably already got a plan for where he's going to spend it. But the Liberian culture but I could have given him 50 cents and he would have responded the same, but it would not have furthered his life today the way it did. And honestly, that's what I do in America. I'm a $10 tipper, even if it's a low bill, I'm a $10 tipper. If it's a high bill, I'm a higher tipper, but I'm a minimum. I'm a $10 tipper. If I sit there and just get like a bagel and a coffee, because I was a server once, and I remember that it was hard. So unless I don't have $10, in which case I don't go to a restaurant. But being generous, being gracious, but also allowing them to keep me safe, allowing them to protect me, allowing them to empower me, allowing them to bringing my problems about my kids and what are the creative ways that I can intentionally parent them internationally. I need a team of Liberians for that, and I sure do have a good team. So these things are good. Good day. I love having a Liberian phone number, but I didn't realize that Nelson, once I got a Liberian phone number, that he would call me on it, because I was just thinking I have it for my hotspot. I didn't realize. So data here is expensive for Liberians. very expensive. And so whenever they call me on WhatsApp or they call me on Messenger on Facebook or they message me, it costs them a lot. Not a whole lot, but I mean enough that they're going to have to charge it back up. Whereas if they call me on my Liberian phone number now, it doesn't cost them anything because it's just a Liberian phone number. So they can call me on my Liberian phone now, and they're very excited. But they called me, Emmanuel called me twice today, and Nelson called me 3 times, and I did not answer my Liberian phone. So finally they had to call me on Messenger and use their data. They didn't explain it to me before. I guess they just thought it would make sense. And honestly, I have never had an Android phone, and my Liberian phone, because of the ease of Wi-Fi, is attached to an Android. And I kept trying to push it to answer it, and you have to slide. It was just one of those things, like, to be so capable. It was like, I would probably eventually figure it out, but it doesn't say like slide to answer. It's just a green phone, and it's lighting up at me, and there's a green and a red. So I guess you swipe left if you want to decline and swipe right. I guess they thought I was giving them the button. I don't know. It was turn on silent. Anyways, it doesn't matter. So now I have to wash my clothes, and I figured out that my sink stopper doesn't work. I also thought my hot water didn't work, but it turns out it does. The guy that came to fix it, I was like, my water's cold. Basically, he turned on the hot water on the sink and turned on the hot water on the shower and just let it run for like 4 minutes. Maybe 5. And it was hot. And so I was like, oh, thanks, buddy. But I know this guy, like, he's fixed a lot of stuff for us. When we lived here for 5 months, a lot of things kind of broke. And he's seen me before, so I guess he was glad it was a good fix. But it was easy. I felt dumb. Also, I told Nelson that I need a case for my Android phone immediately because I'm a dropper. Shouldn't give me something without giving a case. He was like, just get a case when you get back to America. This could be your Liberian phone. You travel with a lot. I was like, Nelson, it won't make it that far. It will not make it that far. We need a case tomorrow. He's like, oh, we'll get you a case tomorrow. Also, we're going to go do some shopping. A couple of the girls at the Small World home have grown, and they need more appropriate women's clothing because they are not women, but they are tall, and it's time for them to get new clothes. Because when you become the tallest and the oldest at the orphanage, you don't have any more hand-me-downs left. You're kind of the top. And lately, especially one of them is matched, and I'm sure her parents will be happy to help with whatever she needs. But one of them is unmatched, and so, you know, her best shot is the one that's matched, getting some new clothes. And honestly, it's not that they don't get them clothes, they do, but right now with the suspension and the lack of adoption throughput and the lack of fees and the lack of payment coming in, they're just putting food on the table right now. So I'm going to get her some clothes because, you know, she's growing, which is good. She should be growing. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. Well, I don't know if we'll have time to do it tomorrow. We are going to the home tomorrow. I have the parents set up to make their phone calls. So I think that'll be fun. I'm excited about that. But yeah, today, Liberian church and a holiday at the Tropicana was fantastic. And I wish I would have done a holiday at the Tropicana when we were here before. I think that I was in such a dark, like, I think things were just so hard that it was like sometimes when you're under such pressure and so many things that you're something that you can't solve and can't move out of the way, it's hard to have an objective picture, because we could have certainly hosted them all come over when we were here before, but we didn't. And I think we talked about it once, but then we never talked about it again, Jeremy and I, but we just didn't. And we were kind of watching our dollars pretty close to, but we didn't. And I wish we would have, because my American kids would have benefited from that a lot, and I would have benefited from it a lot. It was a joyous occasion and very fun. But I couldn't see it. But now I feel like when I am here in Liberia, I don't think that my relationship with my Liberian friends that have become family to me, I don't think it's going to end with my adoption. I think I'm going to continue to come here. I'm going to continue to do everything I can to empower those that have the gifts and the abilities to do major things that are important for the development of this country and important for the future and important for the kingdom of God, to empower them any way that I can. So if you want to assist with Emmanuel's kids scholarship, if you want to sponsor some of a couple of semesters for his sons, that would be great. I could use some help on that. I would love to just do that for them, but I can't do it right now, and they need it right now. So if you want to Venmo me some money to put towards the Williams boys scholarships, that'd be great. If you are a matched parent and you're watching this, I'm excited about our video chats tomorrow. Hope it goes well. I'm starting to really miss my family, but I think that my choice to come here was one that was hard to make. In some ways, it was very easy to make because my kids are here. But there's pros and cons, and it's I mean, between $3,500 and $5,000, depending on which flights I get when to be here. And depending on how good of a deal I can get from the Tropicana, because this is really the only place I can stay and kind of have the tools that I need. So, I don't know. This has been an important trip, I think, to restore my happiness and to push back the evil and the darkness that was doing everything it could to paralyze me. And it's almost like I think I hit my rallying phase when I was in the US. I was like, you know what? This could be 2 months, 2 years, or 10 years, but my kids are there, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to pour my heart out. I'm going to pour out everything I can. I'm going to do good at every opportunity that I find, and I'm just going to be present because that's all I can do. And that's what or I could stay home and continue to wallow. And I needed to do something important for my kids. I needed a grand gesture, and this has certainly been it. And I'm grateful for my American kids and for Jeremy for making it easy for me to go. My job made it easy for me to go. My friends made it easy for me to go. Everything's easy for me to go. Everybody did everything they could and continues to make it easy for me to go. And now that I'm here, it's so much fun it was so much fun to, like, even the shoes, like all the shoes I found for Nelson's kids, we got all of them except for 8. So I'm going to go buy 8 pairs of shoes. And now I'm good. Like, it'll be good. I'm going to buy 8 pairs of shoes and everybody's going to be happy. But just watching them be excited when it fit instead of being like, oh my, crap, my foot grew. One of the boys, his feet, he was supposed to be a 42, but I brought shoes that are 43 and a half. 40, yeah. But I was worried they would be too big, but they're too small. His foot has even grown even more since Nelson last checked. But he kept trying to squeeze his foot in the shoes. He was like, but they do fit. I'm like, but you're going to bust through it. Like, they're not comfortable. But he was trying to be gracious, and he was excited. And I was like, listen, you can keep these. You can wear them today. You can keep them forever if you want to. But tomorrow, I'm going to go buy you some shoes that fit too, and you can have both. And he was like, thank you. And because I think he thought if he didn't fit, maybe he wouldn't get to keep them or something. I don't know. But or maybe he just wanted them to fit and wanted it to not be a thing. But I don't want them to go without if I can reach it. But it was nice. It was nice to give everybody new shoes, give them jump ropes and sports balls and things to play with, and a day of Rachel holiday at the Tropicana with French fries and chicken wings and hummus dip. And it was good. And so anyways, it was good. I'm sorry this has gotten so long. I'm going to attach it to my one this morning, and I wish I would have taken more pictures today. I was just so happy, I was just so happy. I'm sure Emmanuel took pictures, so if you want to find his Facebook, it's there. Maybe. If he has enough data to upload it. Maybe he does. He probably does. But I can't, to my Liberian family, there will never be words to thank you for making it easy for me to be here. For your hospitality, for your protection, for your wisdom, for your encouragement, and for your laughs. And for your ideas on how to help and how to make it better. You guys are very unique in that. And I am better for being here. I'm better for being here the first time. And I'm better for being here today. And I am completely humbled at the whole situation. And I can't, I just, I was talking to Jimbo, our agency director, and we were reminiscing about Diesel, because I brought Diesel up because when we decided to add a son, although I know that it's completely unrealistic to think that this process could go quick for him, and I know that the girls will come home probably before him, and then to think of anything different is, but I brought it up to Jimbo because Diesel was an add-on. I called it a piggyback adoption when we started fundraising for it. But I thought that the idea for Diesel came from Jimbo because Jimbo asked my friend Devin if she would consider another kid. And I found out this past week that it was not. I found out December 18th when we made the phone call about our son and asked permission to dream and permission to pursue that if it ever becomes legally possible, of course. But, we asked if we could be considered for him. But Diesel was an add-on because Devin was always licensed for 2 because at one point there was another little boy that she was going to adopt. And his family of origin, he had some relatives that their lives improved, their situations improved, and they were able to parent him. And even close to the time of blessing Devin, the older daughter, they were not biological siblings, but they were going to be adopted together, her and this little boy. Even close to the time, Devin had kept her home study updated for 2 and had kept herself licensed for 2 in the hopes that if that family changed their mind at the last minute, that it was still a door that could be open for him. But as it got closer and closer to time for the adoption being finalized, and he continued to do okay where he was, and Albert, the director here in Liberia, had checked on him and checked on his family, and I think it was a good situation. It sounds like it was a good situation that he could stay in, and I think his relatives that had him did have questions about it. They went back and forth about it. Maybe he would be better in America, but I think it was explained to them. It's not really about whether he would be better or not. It's whether can he make it here or not, and he was doing well here, and they love him, so he got to stay. But Devin never changed her paperwork. It just seemed like maybe he would show up. But Albert noticed that Blessing and Diesel in the orphanage had a bond. And that Blessing, really was kind of being a big sister to him already. And there was a connection there. And Diesel was considered, he's getting a little bit older for boys, he was 7. And sometimes it's hard to match 7-year-olds. And so Albert pushed for it. He said, not pushed, but he brought it to Jimbo's attention. He had been observing this, and he knew what the paperwork said because he knew about the other child. And he was the one that was checking on the other child too, and the child was doing well. But he's like, you sure? So Jimbo approached Devin and asked her if she would consider, because they had this kid. He seemed to be doing really well, and him and Blessing seemed to be getting along well, and just would she consider it? And I remember when she said yes. And it was good. And I remember encouraging her to say yes, because why not, And Diesel has turned out to be awesome kid. You never would have known that he was nice because in all of his pictures of the orphanage, his face was like this, mean mug at everybody. But Diesel is actually the sweetest, nicest kid. And I have seen him smile and laugh a lot. But we talked to Jimbo about when our son came in the orphanage. We talked to Albert about when our son came in the orphanage. I talked to him recently. I was like, how long has he been here? He doesn't remember Diesel. Most of the kids remembered Diesel and Blessing, but some of them did not. And it was weird that he said that. And Albert said he came the month after Diesel left. And I thought, wow. So Devin saying yes to Diesel in 2020 and getting him home in 2021 opened the door for my son to have a bed at that orphanage. Arguably one of the last beds before the suspension started. Arguably one of the last beds. Maybe a couple more came in. There's a baby and his older sister that are there. He's one. Maybe them. Because he's just so young, I know he's probably been there the shortest amount of time because he's not that old. I mean, maybe he's close to 2. But to think that because she could have said no. It's an added expense. It's an added person. She could have said no. And nobody would have known, or nobody would have thought anything different. I mean, one adoption is enough. But that's why for the unmatched families and for the matched families, I think about the timing of that, about how my son was in a desperate time and needed a place. And there was a bed open because Dizo had left. And so I just want to say, Devin's, my dearest friend, like held my hand when I was giving birth. She's there for every hard thing. And to think that God Almighty would connect our kids like that as a show of encouragement to me today is humbling to take in. It's very humbling to take in. But knowing that opening is most likely what saved my son's life. It's a really, really good story. And I can't say for sure that this will all work out and we'll all live in the United States and they'll become U.S. citizens and they'll grow up to be Liberian U.S. citizens who do amazing things both in the U.S. and in Liberia. I can't say that that's what's going to happen. But if it is what happens, their origin stories are pretty amazing. So I just want to say that I don't want to pressure anyone into adopting a child that they may not be equipped or ready for. What I do want to say is that if you have the financial capacity, if you have the square footage capacity, just be ready just in case. Just change your home study before you go to court. Change it all. Add it onto your I-600A. It's a 1 to 2 month add-on form. It's not a big deal. You change your home study, you send a form, and within 90 days you're done, or less. And by doing that, you may not choose to add on a kid when the time comes, but if you do, your kid's going to have a story like Dizo and like my son has. That's a barely, like just one person said yes at the right moment. And then for my son, we got on a plane and went and lived there for 5 months. And honestly, from the time I met him until now, his smile it just doesn't go away from my brain. I mean, all 3 of them for sure, but we planned on the girls, We planned on them. We didn't plan on a boy. We were just planning on girls. Jeremy's the ultimate girl dad, so anyways. Okay. I'm going to put my breakfast video at the end of this video because it's not as exciting as this. But in case those of you that want to come visit the Tropicana, I did another breakfast video. I'm sorry this is so long. It's therapeutic for me. I'm going to add on our link to our Adopt Together account if you want to learn more about our story or if you want to give to our adoption. And I'm also going to add my Venmo if you want to send me some money to sponsor Emmanuel's sons to get going in the right. If just a portion of it would be great to get going for their college dreams. They only need $150 each, so just $300 to get started this semester so that they can move forward. And I think that would be a blessing. If there's someone that feels really motivated to empower these young men, I think it's an investment that is so good. I would love to be able to get some Venmo here and get that in their hands before I leave in just a few days. So if you guys feel called to do that, that would be great. And then I'm just gonna keep on going. Okay, I just wanted to show you guys this breakfast. The cheese omelet that I ordered. So when you order a cheese omelet, they still put the vegetables in, so it's like onions and tomatoes. So even if you order cheese, that's what happens. But I got some chips and some plantains, cucumbers, and Lebanese bread today. And I also got a little bowl of beans, and I'm not really a bean girl. They asked me if I wanted coffee, tea, or juice, and I said tea. And I got orange juice, but it's still good. But I don't know why. I don't know if they call orange juice tea for some reason. Maybe I'm confused. You can kind of see me in the mirror over there. But I just want to show you guys this view. It's amazing. Some of the workers are preparing for the day. But that is my pool. It'll be filled with kids today because it's Sunday. And the Hobie kids are coming today too. But you can see the ocean behind it and the waves. And then there's a pavilion out there where people eat. There's my friend Abu. I haven't talked to him yet. Jeremy's friend Abu. But I can also sit out there on my porch if I wanted to and eat. And then there's just like a little loungy bed there. So yesterday people were coming up and laying on my bed and taking pictures, and that's a thing. So people that come to the Tropicana, they pay $5 to get in, and they spend the day here, and they want to pose on these beds, but I literally ran them off because they were like laying on my daughter's towel. My daughter's beach towel was there, and she was like provocatively lounging on my porch. And Nelson, my friend, was sitting like right here. So those of you that have stayed at the Tropicana understand that they treat this like it's some type of photo op to pose, but they pose provocatively. It'd be one thing if everybody was coming up with their family and like just saying cheese, but it was not that. And so I asked her to move. I said, "Excuse me, this is our area. Could you please hurry?" And she looked at me with a scoffy face, but she left. So there you go. But anyways, so this is the rest of my room. And I had a question about my hot water, and because it wasn't very hot. And so the gentleman that is the electrician guy that fixes everything here, he came and basically just turned on the sink water and turned on the shower at the same time, really, really hot, and it heated up. And I was like, oh, thank you. So I had kind of a lukewarm shower before, but when I wash my hair, I would like to have hot water, you know. Hair wash day needs hot water, so anyway. Because it just takes a long time to rinse, and I don't want to be cold if I don't have to. But this is the Tropicana. I like it a lot. It's really pretty. And then they have security guards too, so you can actually enjoy the beach. Some of the places you can stay in Liberia have the beach, but they don't have 24/7 security. At the Tropicana, there's literally a guard at every corner at all times, day or night. Like if I wanted at midnight to walk around, he would know that I was there and send me back to my room, but he's watching, so. All right, that's all.